Right, for anyone that doesn't know what the Austin 7 gear lever looks like, this is it here. Obviously you've got your locking mechanism there, and here. So what I'm going to do is, inside the car, this is the tunnel that I made for the car. Obviously take the bigger Ford gearbox. What I've got to do is, in this part here that's marked out here, that's where the gear lever is going to come through. So I'm going to cut out that panel there, or bit of that panel there that I made, and see where it comes through, work out the height, and go down below and start making some brackets up and all that and whatever. This is what it looks like with a bit of metal cut out the side. So what I'm hoping on theory is a handbrake lever fitting down here. The gearbox tunnel is slightly tapering upwards, so it works quite well. This is what I'm hoping of. Pivot handbrake here somewhere, and then it's going to be a bit lower than that, somewhere down here, and then hopefully the handbrake is going to work like in that mechanism somewhere. That's the theory anyway, we shall see. Well, I decided to take the whole brake bar out. It was going to hinder. I thought I could use it, but it's just going to be a lot more bother than anything. But that's what I did. I decided to take it out there. If somebody liked to have it, do you know what I mean, they can. I'd rather it go to a good home than chop it up and waste it, do you know what I mean? So I'll do someone a good turn. So this is where it went. It went here, and it went to here. I'm going to just grind them rivets off in a moment. This bit here I chopped off some time ago, so I thought I was going to need it when I put the gearbox mount cross member in there, but that does actually, I will go back in there, and I'm going to weld it back in a minute. That'll go back in there. I had to chop the bottom of this out because the bar went straight away through, right way through to one side. So I'm going to weld that back in a minute, like so, and then I'm going to stick a plate over this, because around this area there is where I'm going to make my brackets for the handbrake lever, which is then going to go right up through there. As you can see, well, I've cut the inside tunnel out, so that's where I'm up to now. This is where I've got to. I've welded that bit back in, and I've welded a support bar in. This is where the handbrake lever is going to go up there. That's going to have a pivot on here, so it goes forwards and backwards, and hopefully that's going to operate the cables. Lots of bits and more to make yet, so I'll keep you informed on what goes on next. Right, the next stage I've got to is I've made some angle iron brackets here out of 3mm by 25mm angle iron. Drilled 2 holes in it, obviously, to pass the bolt through now for now. I'm going to weld these up on the bar here, so it's in level up there, and go through that hole into the car. So I shall carry on and get this in position. Right, there we go. That is sort of just clipped into place with a pair of mole grips, and she goes right up there. It's actually quite pleased with that, how it's sort of looking. So what I'm going to do is get that welded into position and carry on with the next step. Right, so I've got that bracket nearly welded on. I just got to chop a little bit off up here. I want to take the lever off again, level that, and weld along the top edge up there. Where I'm up to now is I've cut out this bit of bar, or made a bit of bar up. That's out of 8mm, so it's substantial. I wedged it between where the roller pin used to go, the roller in there, what used to go to the bar that goes across. So I've got plenty of throw, I believe, on this to do the handbrake with. I can gain some more up the top up there if needed by cutting a bit more of the top of the tunnel out. So I'm now going to get this welded on. Right, so here's the next bit done. I welded it on up there and down the side there, as you can see. I've also shaped it off a little bit at the top. So this is a throat, which is quite a fair bit. If need be, I can cut, like I say, a bit more at the top at the back of the tunnel. So on to the next bit. Well, right, back again. So what I've done, I've made this brake balancer bar here, obviously to balance the two rear brake cables. It's not adjusted yet, so forgive me on that one, or pull me on that. What I've done, I've made this bar from here. That's off an old brake lever off an old Corsair. This bit end is here. Welded a bar on it, and I welded a bolt down the tube in here, threaded bar in here, so I can pull on the front and back. So now what happens is the lever pulls at the top, which then pulls the cables, tightens them up, and by pulling on these two cables here, you can't really see, so get on there, you can actually see it's actually working, and the car won't move. So potentially that is all done. So next bit is to try and get the ratchet on. Right, so shot from above. Now is, here we go, it hasn't got the ratchet on yet, so it will return. But here we go, it does actually work quite well. So I'm happy with the distance of travel in that. I can actually move it, adjust it from down below to give a bit more clearance to here, but I can, so that's not bad. I'm very happy with how that's turning out so far. So next bit is to get the ratchet teeth on there. Right, so this is much of it complete now. I've got the ratchet part on there, up there, as you can see. I made a bracket from the cross member I put in there, welded it up. I used what I've already got, so I used the cross member there, welded a bracket onto that with a hole in there, and as you can see, I've locked the ratchet off, so it's not staying on at the moment, just to test it with. So I've got all this play here and it travels smoothly. I have tested it, it does seem to work. So this is, goes in there like that. Oh, excuse me, I'm crap with the camera, I know. But I'm going to have a pin that goes in there, and yeah, so it's pretty much there really. So this is, I've got plenty of adjustments. In here I can adjust the throw of the handbrake forwards with this here, or backwards by adjusting that there, and I can adjust the balance of the cables there. So this really concludes my Austin 7 Ruby handbrake conversion, from which I've done from Morris Minor rear back plates. So as I say, it just runs up through there, the cables run down here, down here, down here, and here, which they pull there. So get the grease on me. So yeah, that concludes it. That's that all finished. Thanks for watching me. If you're watching, like, share. It's not the correct way of doing things, but this is how I've chosen to do it. Right, thank you. Goodbye. Back for one more quick little bit. I just thought I'll just show you the handbrake in use. So there we go. All works perfectly and releases. Excellent stuff. Well happy with that.